The caduceus is a staff with two snakes wrapped around it heading upward, and is an esoteric symbol with multiple levels of meaning which we could talk about for hours, specifically related to its significance in Hermeticism and our interest in the human mind. But in the West, its most common modern, popularly known association is that of being a crest or logo of public health services often seen in hospitals. Long story short, it's essentially a benevolent symbol that we personally associate with physical and mental health. But let us propose an idea for an inverted version which is malevolent, a dark psychological caduceus, if you will. Picture the two snakes headed downward of this upside-down caduceus as representing theocracy and fascism, the modern-day DNA of the empire, and almost always intertwined through the combination of authoritarian control and religious ideology, and always wants to send society downward, not upward. In both systems, absolute authority is concentrated, often under a single leader or ruling group. Theocratic fascism uses religious justification for the state's authoritarian role, portraying leaders as divinely chosen or guided. We bring up these two words in our work not as much from a political standpoint, but more from a psychological one. Theocracy is psychological because it relies heavily on belief systems and moral authority to exert control over a population. In theocracy, rulers derive their power from religious doctrines which influence people's thoughts, behaviors, and worldviews. The psychological aspect is profound, as citizens are often conditioned to see the government's authority as divine or sacred, making dissent less likely. In contrast to purely political systems, theocratic control mixes deeply with skewed versions of personal faith, which is far too often just indoctrination, shaping uneditable, unrefinable, mostly hard-locked, regressive political beliefs through some sort of divine retribution. Fascism is psychological because it seeks to control not only actions, but the mindset of individuals, relying on mass manipulation through propaganda, fostering a collective identity rooted in nationalism and especially obedience. By appealing to deep emotional drives like fear of the other, a sense of superiority, and aiming to create an environment where questioning authority feels dangerous or even immoral. Fascism wanting to do so through manipulating perceptions and unwavering devotion to a supposedly powerful leader, and theocracy wanting to do so through religious devotion and moral duty, creating a system where dissent is seen as heresy. So they very much operate together, and their intertwining has often been seen in freedom-hating regimes throughout the world, where religious elements aim to have a hard-lock control on the state and mindset of the people. But in our country, we are approaching an inflection point in an upcoming election, and frankly, all future elections, where we either keep working towards liberal democracy, which is yet to be achieved, continuing to head towards that land of milk and honey, heading upwards, or heading downwards into the hellfires of Project 2025 fascist theocracy and our Opus Dei-influenced Supreme Court, which is currently comprised of a majority of theo-ideologues. Because the feminine has also recently had some of their rights taken away by said court, and is thus more likely to want to head upwards, let's also do the same, fellas.